Hello, everybody. Nina Soden here, and I am here to talk about Cujo by Stephen King. Wow. Okay, so I read this years and years and years and years ago. Didn't really remember it. I hadn't seen the movie, or at least I don't believe I've seen the movie. If I did, okay. But I decided I'm going to reread this. I found it on my bookshelf as I was unpacking when we moved into our new house. And I thought, you know what, I need to reread that. So I picked it up the other day and I started reading. And let's first talk structure. This book is 304 pages long, and it is one chapter. One chapter that is 304 pages long. I don't know of any author other than Stephen King who could get away with that. One chapter. Yeah, no breaks. No breaks in this bad boy. Just one chapter. Yeah. It makes you sit on the edge of your seat the entire time because you're like, I want to put it down, but I can't put it down. I'm not at a break yet. I haven't finished my chapter. So it makes it very difficult to put this book down. All right. But it works. For this book, somehow it works. Never seen that before, but it works. Okay. So writing style. You know what you're going to get when you pick up a Stephen King book. You're going to get awesome, at least in my opinion. I have never read a Stephen King book that I didn't like. Yep, nope, can't think of any. I don't think I've ever read a Stephen King book I didn't like. This isn't my favorite Stephen King book, but it's pretty darn close. Yeah, it's intense. If you have not read Cujo yet, it's intense. And I'm going to give you a warning right now. There will be spoilers in this because I'm going to be talking about some of the stuff that happens. So if you don't like spoilers, then turn off the video, I guess. Yeah. If you've read it, if you've seen the movie, I don't know if the movie is anything like the book, or if you aren't planning on reading it, but you want to know what happens, then keep on watching. Okay, so in the beginning, like most Stephen King books that I have found, it was very slow. It's slow to get into. He is introducing you to a number of different people. You're meeting all of the characters, and typically that would be his first 5 to 10 chapters. But again, one chapter, so it takes a little while. But then you get into the meat of it. Then you get into the part where Cujo, the dog, lead character, a dog as a lead character. This isn't going to work in most adult books, but it works in this one. So Cujo gets scratched on the nose because he's been chasing this rabbit, and then he goes into a cave to get the rabbit, and he gets scratched on the nose by a bat, a rabid bat. So that's where all the interesting stuff begins because Cujo starts to get sick. And it's a slow build at first, but then once he is sick and he is in it, it's just whoosh, right in your face. So I was on the edge of my seat. What's going to happen? Who's Cujo going to go after? He corners his owner, the little boy, and you're just like, oh my God, no, not him. But he's not quite sick enough yet that he doesn't recognize that he has some sort of relationship with this boy, and he ends up leaving. Okay, so breather at that point. But then he goes somewhere else, right? This town, Castle Rock, is full of lots of people. So he's going to find somebody eventually. So he does. And it's a neighbor, and the neighbor recognizes him, but then the neighbor recognizes the symptoms that he has and realizes Cujo's got rabies. This ain't good. And so he tries to get away, doesn't work. Cujo gets him. Death, blood, gore, biting, eating, disgusting, but you can't stop reading. It's like a train wreck. You don't want to watch, but you can't stop looking? Yeah. So you go on, and literally I was on the edge of my seat going, what's going to happen? And you've got all these little storylines happening. You know, you have Vic and Donna who are having marital issues and their son Tad. And then you've got the owners of Cujo, who the woman wants to take her son out of town to see her family, and the man they've got this marital issue as well because it's kind of a verbally abusive, I guess. He treats her like she's his property almost, I guess. She's afraid of her husband. It's this whole thing. But they end up going away. He ends up going away, which is why, you know, you're like, oh, okay, or at least you think he goes away. All right, so Cujo, this is the intense part. He's taken down the neighbor, and he then takes down the owner. So the little boy's father, who owns Cujo, he goes to visit the neighbor, and that doesn't work because Cujo's there. And then you're like, okay, but the mom and the son don't know because they're out of town visiting her sister. Okay. And then Cujo comes back home because where else are you going to go but home? And Donna and Tater, which is his nickname, Tad, T-A-D, they're there because she needs to get her car fixed, and he fixes cars. That's where it gets intense. Young child and his mother in a broken down car, trapped by Cujo. Trapped by this huge Saint Bernard who's foaming at the mouth, has blood all over him because he's already got 2 kills, and they can't do anything about it. Don't got cell phones because they weren't around back then. They're in a broken down car, so they can't get away. They get there on a Monday, and it's Wednesday before anybody shows up. So just a few snacks in the car that they brought. Hot sun because it's the middle of summer, and scary dog. Not the perfect combination, okay? So the first person to arrive on the scene is a cop. And you think, oh, good, a cop. He's got a gun. He can take care of Cujo. No, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen at all. Cujo takes care of him. The mom is already pretty much delirious at this stage because of hydration. The son is out of it because of dehydration. And you're at that point where something has to happen. And you don't know what it is, but you know it's probably not going to be good because, well, it's a Stephen King book. So I'm not going to tell you who dies at the end. I've already told you 3 people who die. I'm not going to tell you who dies at the end out of the little boy or the mom. I'll give you a clue. It's one of the 2 of them. And the next person that shows up on the scene is the dad of the little boy who's in the car. The husband of the woman, Donna. It's Vic. And, well, the ending made me cry. I bawled like a baby with this book because, oh my God, all the feels. So throughout it, you are angry at some of the characters. You're frustrated with some of the characters. You love some of the characters. You're sad for Cujo because none of this that's happening is in his control. He was scratched by a bat, chasing a rabbit, doing something he loves, running out in the field, chasing a rabbit, you know, and then he gets sick and he doesn't understand it. Stephen King is really good about writing what's going on in Cujo's head. So he recognizes people, kind of. He recognizes them, but as he's getting sick, it's oh, the boy, or oh, the man, oh, the woman. I know them. But then he starts to deteriorate. And it's no longer the boy I would die for, the boy I would protect. That's the person who did this to me. That's the person who put me in this much pain. That's the person that caused this, and I have to kill them. And it's not his fault. It's just this disease. And he can't control it. He's not an evil dog, but what he does is really evil. But he can't control it. It's not his fault. And it happened to him. So you just feel so devastated for him. And you want him to get better, and you know he's not going to because it's rabies. And he's killing everybody he sees, so nobody can help him. But yeah. Anyway, lots of spoilers right there. Read this book. The only thing I didn't get about this, and if you've read Cujo and you understood it at all, please comment below and tell me, because this is the part I don't get. There's somehow a connection between Tater, the little boy who's in the car at the end, and Cujo. There's somehow this connection because all along in the beginning, he's talking about the monster in his closet. And he sees like these bright red eyes staring out at him. And his door opens at night, his closet door. There's something in the closet. There is something in the closet. I don't know what it is. But his mother sees it at one point. His father sees it at one point. And they just brush it off. But every night he closes the closet door and the closet door opens and he sees this monster. And this isn't just a kid who thinks there's a monster in my closet, because the door opens on its own and there's bright red eyes in there. And even the parents have recognized that the door opens on its own. There's even one point near the end of the book where Tad and his mom, Donna, are stuck in the car, and Vic comes home from a business meeting or a business trip, and he's in Tad's bedroom, and the monster words that he had created to keep the monster away and put on his wall aren't there. And then he notices the closet door is open, and he thinks he sees something in there. So he shuts the closet door, and it opens again. Then he shuts the closet door, and he puts a chair in front of it, and it opens again. So there's something in the closet. But when Tad sees Cujo as a rabid dog, because he's met him before as just a normal dog before he got sick, but when he sees him rabid, he recognizes him as the monster in his closet. So if Cujo wasn't the monster in his closet, what is the monster in his closet? So that's what I don't understand. That never gets resolved. It's never clear how that connection, how Cujo is in the closet, if it is Cujo, or how that connection is what's in the closet. I never quite got that. So if you've read this book and you did see that, if you did get that, and you had closure on that issue, please tell me what it is, because I really want to know. But if you had the same issue as me, tell me that too, because I'd like to know I'm not alone in that issue. All right, so Cujo by Stephen King, my favorite author of all time. I highly recommend reading this book. My favorite quote from the book, I will end you with my favorite quote. It is on page 91. And we're sitting here talking, it's Donna. Donna is Tad's mom, Tater's mom. So she says, she's talking to her husband about the fact that her husband is always gone. So when he's home, he's gone. All right. So this is my favorite quote. For a woman, no, for me, that's a brutal thing to have to face. Wife, that's fine. But you're gone at work. Even when you're home, you're gone at work so much. Mother, that's fine too. But there's a little less of it every year, because every year the world gets another little slice of him. And that's my favorite quote. The mother, that's fine too. But there's a little less of it every year, because every year the world gets another little slice of him. So as a mom, that sentence, that quote hit home so much, because I feel like my kids are growing up so fast and that the world is taking a little slice of them every year, just a little bit that I can't get back, because they're getting a little bit more independent. They're getting a little bit taller, a little bit older, a little bit braver. And that's good. In order to make healthy, happy, independent adults, they have to. But as a mom, it is painful, because you just want them to stay your babies forever. And you know they can't. But it seems like they grow up way too fast. And Stephen King just hit that emotional nail on the head with the hammer, because he got it just right in that quote. All right, Stephen King, Cujo, read it. If you've read it, tell me what you think. If you haven't read it, why not? Go pick it up and read it now. All right. Oops, jostled that. Okay, everybody enjoy and happy reading.